Yeah, I think this one's going to hit hard. Today, we're going to talk about the biggest scam of all time. Now, if you don't know, my name is Jared Andre Walker, and SCAM stands for Secretly Carrying a Message. And we about to unpack this one. Because if you've been secretly carrying a message, not only have you been scamming, but you more than likely been scammed. Yeah, fam. You been scammed. And we're going to fix that today. We're going to talk about it. Whew, whew, whew. If you've been secretly carrying a message, then you have been the scam. The problem is there's a big chance that you were actually scammed into remaining silent. I don't think people understand the value of the messages that they actually have. It's ironic because when you grow up in a family that actually cares about you, I'm not going to speak on the ones that don't, but when you grow up amongst people who actually value you, then those same people, they value your voice. And from infancy, they actually care to hear what it is that you have to say. The moment my children started speaking, even though it was their first word, there's a debate whether it was mama or daddy or my dad, whatever the case, either way, I cared to hear what they had to say, even though they didn't have much to say, at least not intelligibly. Oh my goodness. You hear the, yeah, all that stuff. But as they got older and get older, I still want to hear what it is that's on their minds, what it is that they have to say. And if I'm intentional, I want to hear what messages they're picking up based on what it is that my wife and I are putting down. So the important aspect of what I'm saying is I care to hear what they have to say because I don't want them walking around secretly carrying a message. I want them to communicate, right? I want my children to actually let me know what's going on in their minds. Well, when we go full circle with that whole thing, when you become an adult, you have a lot of perspectives, fam. And you've been through various things, and there are messages that you actually carry that get heavy. They're actually burdens. And if you didn't know, a baby is a burden. So we carry these babies, we carry these messages, we carry the evidence that somebody is looking for just to know whether they're crazy or not. And when you're the person who has gone through what you have gone through, if you outlasted that situation, by default, you have a message. But it's when you don't say anything, it's when you keep it hidden. Now you are secretly carrying a message, which makes you a scam. What if I told you that there are all types of people in this world that you will never get along with? They don't understand you, you don't understand them. If I told you that, would you? I don't think you would think I'm lying to you. I think you have enough evidence to know that that's true. That's a fact. But what if I told you that you have been tailor made for a custom message and not just one, but multiple variations of the same message. And each message carries your name and the weight of your story. When we're talking about a story, we're dealing with history. So it's not just her story, it's not just his story, it's your story. And when we're talking about your story, we're talking about the context of who you are and how you came to be. So the messages that you have are not a bunch of random stuff just thrown together to try to make it make sense. You are not a gumbo. You are a tree that was meant to produce good fruit. And the fruit that you get to produce is based off of the root of your truth. See, root stands for receipts. of owned trials. Yeah, you got receipts. And every trial you've ever outlasted, every trial that you've ever been through, the proof that you were meant to get through it is in a reality that you still here, fam. So you can't separate your root from your fruit. See, fruit stands for full results understood in time. So when we're talking about your fruit is your proof. Now, I'm not trying to be deep. I'm being honest. If you have ever met somebody that was able to help you, I promise you they had to learn how to help you first. So you don't just get to be this person that goes through life, lives and experiences all types of things and think that you can't help anybody. One of the biggest issues I keep seeing about and keep hearing about and keep finding out that there's this epidemic apparently of loneliness. And inside of this loneliness epidemic, you have a bunch of people who feel like nobody understands them. Nobody gets them. Nobody really just gets it. Ironically, many people get it. They just don't say it because most people are scamming. They're secretly carrying a message that somebody is needing, somebody is wanting, somebody is seeking, somebody has been actually sent to you to actually show them exactly what it is that they did not know was true. So when we talk about being a scam, the greatest scam of all time is going to the grave after being customized, custom made, tailor made, prepared. I'm talking about fully equipped with everything that was needed in order to make a difference in this world. And yet you go to the grave with none of it recorded. It's not written. There's no audio recording of it. And if it is, it's in your phone, unreleased. Nobody ever heard it. The greatest gems of all time are in many people's phones, be it iPhone, Android, whatever. Your phone is carrying the message. So I wanna actually ask you: is it making you money to keep your messages hidden from those who would pay you to solve a problem that you went through all that pain to become the person that can solve it? Is it worth it? And it's not just about money. No, it's about the fact that if you have been provided with everything you need in order to solve your own problem, that means you're also qualified to solve a lot of different people's problems, especially if they had the same problem. So when we talk about the greatest scam of all time, we're literally talking about everybody that has done the work, doing the work, become the person. I'm talking about they literally got the answers. This is not Kanye and Sway. Like you ain't got the answer, Sway. You ain't got the answers. They actually have the answers, and yet they say nothing because they're secretly carrying a message. It reminds me of the Lion King. See, Simba was secretly carrying a message. Yet, how many of you know that sometimes the message that you carry is actually a lie? And if that message that you're carrying is a lie, that's the reason why you can't move forward. You feel stuck because you were never meant to stand in a deception. You were actually meant to be the person that was the interception of somebody else's deception. What does that mean? That means you're the person that shows up and provides proof and evidence that somebody is being lied to, because you are the person that makes them aware once you open up your mouth and actually speak, telling your story. See, it's amazing how Simba, who was a cub singing a song, "Oh, I just can't wait to be king," is the same one that once he believes the deception that he killed his father, now he lost his identity and he takes on the identity of someone that he was never meant to be. His uncle is the one who gives him the story to believe. And he holds on to that story. And he goes into the oasis, the jungle oasis, and he finds, well, he's found by Timon and Pumbaa. And these unlikely friends end up taking him in and teaching him the art of Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. Meanwhile, he's walking around day to day, eating bugs and doing things that just they're not fitting for a lion. But see, because he wanted to fit in with the new world that he had entered into, he never made mention of who he truly was. He never told his friends that he was truly the rightful heir to the throne. He never told his friends that he was the king. They always knew that something was different about him because, I mean, they're a warthog and a meerkat hanging with a lion. They're watching him grow. They're watching his teeth get sharper. They're watching his nails get sharper. They're watching his mane grow. They're seeing it all, but they're feeling comfortable around him because he never presents himself as a threat, not realizing that he is the threat to many of lions who want his position. Yet he's going about living his life in a borrowed identity, which has led him to forfeit his authority. Isn't it crazy how many of us are born to be the king of our thing, the king of all that we have been gifted and given the privilege to actually rule over, to reign over, to function as someone who has sovereignty? Yet because we believe somebody else's lie, we don't even consider it. And when we do, we have this mindset of, well, maybe one day. We have this belief of, I'm not ready. We have this belief of, I just need to do one more thing. I just need to get this one more this or that. You don't realize that you're already qualified. You don't realize that you're already certified. You don't realize you're already authorized, and it was your birthright. So when you have people parading around in borrowed identities, what you're actually dealing with is someone who is forfeiting authority right in front of you. And that's the scam. Because they have the authority to open up their mouths and speak to you in a way that will cause you to change and transform and move in the direction you were meant to. You might be the person who has been delighting themselves in the Lord. It says that if you delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart. Meanwhile, it also says that hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. So the person who was already gone through the processes of becoming a tree of life is exactly who you're sent to. And if anybody has ever been sent to you and they were delighting in themselves in the Lord and he was going to give them the desires of their heart, it says a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. You are the one that provides the actual fruit because you are the tree of life that they were sent to, yet you say nothing and you withhold your fruit. The full results understood in time are literally right within their reach. But you pull back. Nah, that ain't me. Nah, that's not me. I don't know who you think I am, but that ain't me. And see, that's exactly what Simba did. When Simba was recognized by his childhood friend, who was actually who he was betrothed to be married to, Nala, Simba denied his identity. But then when she made mention of his father, that's when he felt a certain type of way. Have you ever felt a certain type of way when somebody made mention of who they know you are supposed to be? And then you want to correct them because really, that kind of stung. Felt like that's a jab. Like, wait a minute. No, 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 no. You don't get to say that. Don't get upset when someone calls you higher to the identity that you were meant to be in. So this man, this lion has to go through all of these various situations. You got your friends that recognize you as royalty. You got your the baboon who was Rafiki, making you aware that he knows your father. He takes you through this whole process, and you literally get to a point where you finally recognize, oh man, I got to go back. And that's the problem. Most of us don't realize the place that we were qualified to be is the place that we don't desire to be. The place that we've been divinely certified to be is the place that we don't desire to be. The place that we've been actually authorized to go to is where the place we actually run from, acting like Jonah. See, Jonah was qualified, authorized, and certified to go to Nineveh. But what did he do once he received that message? Jonah said, I'm about to be a whole scam. I'm about to secretly carry a message. Now, granted, in the end, he ended up in Nineveh, but he had to almost lose his life in order to get there. Well, what about you? Have you ever found yourself going through things you didn't want to go through? And then once you finally got done, you overcame them, you outlasted, you praised God, you thanked the Lord, and all of that stuff just for you to end up in a place that you didn't want to be. And all of a sudden you complaining now. Why would you complain about what you have the power, the ability, the skill, and the time to actually do something about? See, that's your past. Your past is your power, ability, skill, and time. Don't complain about the evidence that you get to be for somebody else to get through. Don't complain about the message that you actually have the ability to speak, because that message is meant to be released. It ain't meant to be kept in. You are literally meant to take all that you have been gifted to go through as your testimony and then go and tell it. If you know the truth about something, you see somebody telling themselves something that is not true, and you know it because you are the proof. If you know it and you say nothing, then that means you are enabling them. You are enabling their limitations. You are validating their limitations. You are benefiting their enemies because their enemies need them to believe those lies. But see, the truth sets you free. Therefore, a lie sets you up. And if a person has been set up from the get up, all they may need is for you to finally speak up and let them know what it is that you have to say. I've come into contact with the various people who believe that they're not muted. I'm making money. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But yet they're struggling and suffering in silence. They just look like they are not. Let me tell you something. Hurt doesn't have a countenance. You have so many people that are hurting. You have so many people that have been hurting, and they were hurting in public, but they were suffering in silence and telling themselves things in private that led them to no longer be here. Look at individuals like Robin Williams, Heath Ledger. These people are not here, but they presented themselves on stage. They presented themselves on camera. They presented themselves in rooms with people all around them in a way that made them believe that they were okay. They're great. What's going on? Oh, hey, good to see you. What about you? How many of you know that you could be better than where you are right now because greatness is literally your birthright? See, Simba knew that he was meant to be the king, but he denied the identity. He did not want it. He did not want that message. The message was that his uncle told him that he killed his father. But the truth was his uncle killed his father. So the deception that he was believing needed to be intercepted by the truth. And the truth is what he had to return to. He had to return home. Some of us need to go home. I'm not talking about just physically, though. I'm talking about mentally. See, when you return home, you realize that everything that you went through was literally cultivating you to become the hero of your hometown. That doesn't mean you're going to be well received. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to embrace the fact that you came back. That's why I said it's not just physical, but it's mental. Because home for you, I remember leaving out of America and going to a whole nother country for my wife and I's honeymoon when we got married. And there were people we had never met before, but we knew what home sounded like. We knew what home felt like. And they felt like home. Well, what if you're home for somebody? But you got to return home. You got to stop forsaking the places that you've come from. You got to stop forsaking the story that you actually have the ability to tell, the message that needs to be released. You got to stop forsaking the evidence that you have that somebody else can get through what they're going through. You got to stop denying who you have become because you don't like the process of how you became. I get it. It's hard. It's tough. I'm not telling you to be some open book. I'm simply telling you that whenever you recognize who could see you as home, as a place of safety and comfort, then all you got to do is share a page. See, the biggest scam is to be the book that's never opened. and to have the biggest, the greatest epic stories untold go to the grave with you. There are too many people that need to hear the contents of your life. See, so many people don't want to make content. They won't press record. They won't get on a camera. They won't do any of these things because they don't think they have enough content. The contents of your life are the content that people are needing. I'm not telling you to go out here with some superhero complex. I'm simply telling you that if you have become the person, then why are you hiding? That's the real question. If you a scam, that means you're secretly carrying a message. But if your message was gifted to you as a custom tailor-made message that somebody needed to hear one day, someday, and today might be that day, but you are withholding it, you are literally perpetuating their pain. And you don't even know it. So the biggest scam sometimes is the man or woman in the mirror. But it doesn't have to remain that way. What if I told you that the message that you had inside of you was actually able to be transformed and turned into the very solution that you've been seeking, the very truth that you've been searching for, the very solution to so many people's problems that if you struggling financially, this would be how you literally solve that problem. I'm not talking about being some motivational speaker. I'm talking about taking the actual promise that has been given and gifted to you. Now, what do I mean by that? If you know that you have something that needs to get out of you that is going to change someone else's life, come at me and I will reach out to you and we can actually find out the promise that you've already been presented based off of the experiences that you've already outlasted, you've already outlived, you've already overcome them. And it's undeniable because the proof is in the fact that you are still here, my friend. And if you still here, that means everything behind you is what you have persevered. And you can't deny that. You can try to deny your root like Simba did, but you can't deny your fruits because that's the full results understood in time. And time has passed and you become the person that could outlast everything that's in your past. And if you still here, I need you to accept that. I need you to embrace that. I need you to tap yourself on the chest and say, I got this. Why? Because God got you and he got somebody else too through you. So let's remove the scam. Let's cease the scam and become the person with the plan. Because if you have the blueprint to somebody else's success, it's about time that you open up your mouth and start speaking like it and get paid for it because they waiting on you. Look, fam, I hope this has been helpful. And I know this much. There is nothing that you have experienced that you can't put to use because there's good fruit attached to it that somebody else is looking for. Because if you are the one that God is using to literally provide them with the desires of their heart, then you are a fruit tree. No tree eats of its own fruit, but that's exactly why it was meant to be put to use. Because it ain't going to go nowhere if you don't open up your mouth. Stay focused and stop keeping yourself heavy. You don't have to be burdened. Get that actual message out. That way you can change the world and transform lives in ways that you didn't even know you were already qualified, authorized, and certified by God himself to do. Y'all stay focused. Much love.